And what I also tell patients, to comment on something you were saying earlier, what happens in your eyes doesn't really happen from yesterday's or today's sugar. That's another big misconception patients have. Oh, my blood sugar was 98 today, I'm fine. No, what happens in your eyes reflects what happened 5 years ago or 3 years ago. And we're going to, even if you're normal today, if you were out of control a couple of years ago, you're going to have a rocky road going forward. My big thing is hit the endocrinologist target, get with an endocrinologist, and we can manage the retina. It's really easy for us to now look a patient in the face and tell them, you know, I would say a good 9 times out of 10, we can honestly tell a patient you're not going blind, or we couldn't do that before.
Victor, when do you want to see the diabetic patient? So, you know, we have this large number of diabetic patients. As we know, only about 25% may even have retinopathy, and a smaller percentage will have sight-threatening retinopathy. When do you, as a clinician, when do you want to see those patients referred to you?
Well, ideally at the time of diagnosis, you know, before we start having any changes structurally that are irreversible. You know, for example, you know, the point that Steve, you know, pointed out to us was that, you know, if you have a large accumulation of lipid in the central fovea, doesn't matter whether you use a laser or you use an anti-VEGF drug, chances are you're not going to recover as much vision as you would have if we would have been able to get at that patient before we had the accumulation of the lipids there. So ideally, you know, you'd want to have those patients before there's significant swelling in the central macula, so that you can decrease the risk of having that precipitation of the lipid. And of course, once you see the lipid there at presentation, that's already, you know, we're starting behind the 8 ball.
Now that's the key point. Victor's making the key point. You can have a significant treatable maculopathy with 20/20 vision and be virtually asymptomatic. And so when the patient communicates to the endocrinologist or the internist, hey, my vision's fine, or I've just been to the mall and seen my optometrist and they tell me I'm fine and I can read and I can drive, that doesn't make them fine. They really need to be evaluated in a careful, precise way so that we can treat the disease. You know, if there's a fire in the backyard, you want to put it out even if it's not in the kitchen, right?
So I think because we have these new modalities, we have the ability to treat, and we will treat earlier. We were treating before, but we had a destructive means of treatment only. Now we have a non-destructive means of treatment. We're able to treat earlier and get better visual results.